to UUCR, or if you're visiting for the first time, or if you're just curious, you're invited to coffee with Reverend Aileen after the service. She'll be available in the boardroom, it's out this door, for conversations with people who are curious about Unitarianism, or want to get to know the church better, or would just like to get to know her better. So please bring your coffee, which is also out there, your donuts, and have a talk. You're welcome to come. Next Friday, May 9th, starting at 6 p.m., come here for a game night and potluck dinner. Everyone is welcome. Invite your friends, neighbors, people who are members of the church, and just as importantly, people who are not members but may be curious about UUCR. So please come. Is Tiffany or is Randy here? Okay, Randy is here. His hand is raised over there. If you have any questions, talk to him about it. It should be a fun night, so please come. Third, a little less frivolity. These are challenging times for individual rights and also collective peace. On Saturday, May 10th, that is the day after the potluck dinner and an activity, the Virginia Social Justice Organizing School will be held from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Unity of Fairfax. And details about that will be in the UU Blast, in the newsletter. Please join us for a day of spiritual grounding, relationship building, and skills training to prepare for the justice work that lies ahead in 2025. As you know, these are challenging times for individual rights and collective peace, and the voice of faith, especially united and especially with some training, is needed more than ever. And talk to Reverend Aileen about that after the service if you're interested, but it will be in the newsletter. On Sunday, May 18th, which is 2 weeks from today, from 11:15 a.m. to 12:15 p.m., that is right after the service, there'll be a hymn sing right here in the sanctuary. You'll have the chance to request your favorite hymnals from our 2 hymnals and sing along with our wonderful pianist, Diane, Carsten-Pelak. Let's come together and unite our voices in song, favorites, new and old. Again, united we stand strong, so all are welcome, and please come. And finally, for our Memorial Day service, which is at the end of the month, Reverend Aileen invites everyone to send a photo of a loved one who has died, who served the country in one of the armed forces in some sense or capacity or another. They don't have to have died during a service, but they have to have expired maybe decades after. So please have the photos and send them or bring them to Reverend Aileen by Tuesday, November 20th. End of announcements. Now let's center ourselves for worship. Please take some deep, quieting breaths with me. Kids excluded. Let's enter our time of worship together as we listen to Diane play this morning's prelude.
Good morning. I'm Reverend Aileen Fitzke, and it is my honor to serve this congregation as its minister. Our opening words this morning are by Sharon Wiley. It is said that ministers are here to comfort the afflicted and to afflict the comfortable. I say we are all afflicted and we are all comfortable. May our time together this morning be a comfort and a confrontation. May we find peace in times of tumult. May we here invite tumult into lives of peace. May we find calm in times of restlessness. May we here allow restlessness to evolve into action. Let this be a place you consider what you've never considered. Let this be a place you imagine for yourself, something new and unthinkable. May this hour bring dreams of new ways of being in the world. Come, let us worship together.
Good morning. Our opening hymn is number 301, Touch the Earth, Reach the Sky. Please rise in body or spirit and join us in singing. Touch the earth, reach the sky, walk on shores while spirits fly, over the ocean, over the land, our faithful quest to understand. Touch the earth, reach the sky, children ask the reasons why. In our lives the answers show, and by our love they learn and grow. Touch the earth, reach the sky, all are born and all shall die. Life's the time left in between to follow a star, to build a dream. Touch the earth, reach the sky, hug the laughter, feel the cry. May we see where we can give, for this is what it means to live. Touch the earth, reach the sky, soar with courage ever high, spirits joining as we fly, to touch the earth, to reach the sky.
Good morning. I'm Sterling Pilette. Welcome to our church. The chalice lighting words are from the Reverend Michelle Collins. It is called Embers of Imagination. We light this chalice, a spark in the darkness, kindling the embers of imagination within us. May its flame ignite wonder, fuel dreams of justice, and illuminate the path toward what could be.
At UUCR, we have a special tradition where we sing our covenant together every Sunday morning. Love is the spirit of this church. So we will remain seated while we sing our covenant together. And if you are visiting us today for the first time, we invite you to accept this song as our blessing to you.
Good morning. Now is the time for all ages. So if you're feeling young of body or young of spirit, I invite you to come forward. We have some room on the floor this morning. And welcome, welcome. Our story this morning, and I am wondering if we might leave this with Reverend Aileen. Well, welcome. Our story today is from a Chinese wisdom tale. Once, long ago, in a small village in China, there lived a little boy named Mal Yang who loved to paint. He had no real paintbrush, so he used sticks to draw pictures in the dirt. One night, he dreamed that an old man gave him a magic paintbrush and said, "Only use this to help people in need." The next morning, Mal Yang woke up, and next to him, he found a paintbrush. He was excited to test its power, so he imagined and painted a bird, and the bird flew off the page. He imagined and painted a fish, and it jumped into a river and swam away. Realizing the power of the paintbrush, Mal Yang decided to go to work quickly, helping other people. He painted food for people who were hungry. He painted tools for poor farmers and water for villages that didn't have enough. News of the magic paintbrush spread quickly, and a greedy emperor demanded that Mal Yang paint him gold and many riches. Mal Yang refused, and the emperor put him in prison and took the paintbrush for his own. The emperor tried painting several pictures, but none of them would come alive. So he called Mal Yang to him and said, "If you'll paint me some pictures and make them come alive, I will let you go." Well, Mal Yang did not want to serve this cruel ruler, but his imagination gave him hope, and he had a plan. He asked the emperor, "What would you like me to paint for you?" And the emperor said, "I want a huge mountain of gold, and I'll go and I'll take the gold for myself." Well, Mal Yang started painting. First, he painted a wide sea, and then a faraway land, and then the great mountain of gold. Seeing this, the emperor demanded, "Paint me a huge, magnificent ship." Mal Yang painted the ship, and the emperor hopped on it and sailed to the mountain. When the ship got close to the faraway land, Mal Yang painted a hole in the bottom of the ship so the emperor couldn't return. Pretty smart, right? After that, Malyung went back to his village, and he lived a long and happy life, and he continued to use his imagination and his magic paintbrush to help people in need. And today, we'll talk more about that. So anyone in 12th grade or younger who would like to join us may do so now as we sing you out with Go Enjoy. And the words will be projected here.
Now is the time in our service when we share our joys and concerns, so that no one ever has to hold them alone. If you are joining us remotely this morning, you might want to light a real or virtual candle to mark what is in your heart as members of the in-person congregation place stones in the water here in the sanctuary. If those of you at home would like to share what's in your heart on the chat, please remember that everything will be public, and to write to all attendees. Those at home may then read each other's joys and sorrows shared in the chat and enter into your own time of reflection and prayer as we in the sanctuary place our stones in the water. So I invite you to come forward as Diane plays our meditation music. Spirit of life and love that so faithfully animates our creation, we are grateful for this community in times of both joy and sorrow. We hold in our hearts this morning all who are facing hardship or difficulty, those who are grieving or facing illness or injury to themselves, their friends, or their loved ones. We also hold in our hearts this morning all who are experiencing joy and happiness. In particular, this morning, we hold in our hearts and prayers those who are suffering from war and violence, particularly those in Gaza and Ukraine. For them, we light this candle. Let us take a moment of silence.
As you may know, UUCR is a self-funded church. We rely on the generosity of you, our members, and our friends to fund daily operations and to ensure that the church and its resources are available for us and for others now and in the future. Your pledges support our worship and music programs, our religious education program, programs for members and friends, community outreach, and connections to Unitarian Universalism, which is important for a sense of community, especially these days. So now we invite you to support the work of UUCR by making your donation, either in the collection plate if you're here in the sanctuary, or the link on the slide and in the chat box if you're at home or away in some other location. Thank you for your generosity and for your support of our beloved spiritual home.
Thank you, Sarah. A long time ago, a friend mentioned to me a concept called co-housing. The intentional community I lived in upstate New York was a co-housing community. It took a few years from the time my friend mentioned the concept to us actually uprooting our family from California and moving across country to be part of one. In between, there was the dreaming, the imagining. What would it be like to live in a place like that? Where were they located across the country? If we did decide to live there, what part of the country would suit us best? So I began dreaming. I stalked several websites, imagined living in those places, imagined what it would be like for my 2 children, imagined what it would be like to move back across the country, all before I ever made contact with any of the community housing. And before I left for divinity school at age 52, I had to imagine it was possible. I stalked the website of the program I was interested in, imagined myself as a graduate student when I hadn't been in an academic classroom for a very long time. I had to imagine I was up to the task, even though the math on the GREs was so foreign to me. I hadn't taken a math class in 30 years. I just guessed at half the questions. Yet here I am. They let me in anyway. Look at people who do even more fantastic things. Look at people who decided that it might be a good idea to go to the moon, a theoretical possibility long before it ever became reality. Mapping the human genome, when a generation earlier we were not quite sure about genes or DNA. Creation of the internet and all the attendant implications that followed. All of these were imagined before they became reality. In the United States, many people dreamed and died for the possibility of the ending of slavery and the further possibility of the ending of Jim Crow, of actual civil rights for everybody. In South Africa, Nelson Mandela and Desmond Tutu and so many others dreamed of ending the apartheid government. The saying, "It always seems impossible until it's done," is attributed to Nelson Mandela. It always seems impossible until it's done. Ruha Benjamin writes in her book, Imagination, a Manifesto. For many, the idea that we can defy politics as usual and channel human integrity toward a more egalitarian form of social organization sometimes seems utterly far-fetched. Instead, our collective imagination tends to shrink when confronted with entrenched inequality and injustice, when what we need is to pour just as much investment into transforming our social reality as we do in transforming our material reality. Ruha Benjamin was a biological researcher working on gene therapies. When it occurred to her, we put billions of dollars into these incredible life-saving research, that we're able to conceive of and experiment with all these technologies to create what might have seemed impossible just years earlier. And yet, we cannot seem to imagine a world without childhood poverty. This, she writes, is a failure of collective imagination. It always seems impossible until it's done. But not all that is dreamt is beautiful. The most incredible minds of the 20th century gave us atomic weaponry. The possibility of killing 100,000 people in a single bomb drop, not to mention the additional injury and disease that follows. A bunch of someones dreamed up and instituted what became Nazi Germany, the blueprint of the final solution. These were what some people considered Germany's finest minds. We have to be very careful what we dream, what we imagine. Benjamin writes, lest we forget designing cruel, oppressive structures involves imagination also. Consider the ongoing threats to our shared social imagination from the imposition of the techno-utopian eugenic imagination that seeks to colonize all ways of thinking and being in the world. I did this very informal study of dystopic and utopian novels at the end of the 20th century and then at the turn of the 21st century. At the turn of the 20th century, there were some dystopic novels, but by and large, the novels were utopian, imagining a better world. At the turn of the 21st and into the present, there has been a plethora of dystopic novels. We seem to be caught up, even in our fiction, with the worst of the worst possibilities for our future. Techno-dystopias of artificial intelligence taking over humanity. For some people, this is not fantasy or fiction, but inevitability of our future. Or of a destructive event, either military or environmental, that sends us into space or other planets. Or of a pandemic that destroys the majority of the population, so we're thrown back in subsistence living and fierce competition with dangerous roaming gangs of opportunistic thugs. Cormac McCarthy's The Road is a prime example of this. While all this catastrophic imagining might be good to have us change the course of the trajectory we are heading in, we also need to imagine otherwise. We need to imagine what else might be possible if only we really wanted it to be possible. We need to imagine something else. It always seems impossible until it's done. Our Time for All Ages this morning told us about a magic paintbrush. The paintbrush helped a young boy create a different, more just future for his village. The magic paintbrush only worked if what was imagined was to help others. The paintbrush did not work for the selfish emperor who only wanted things for himself, but it worked for the young boy who sought a better life for others beyond himself. They had to physically remove the emperor, a metaphoric reminder of our worst impulses, before justice could be attained by the whole community. This morning, I would love for all of you to do a little imagining. Close your eyes if you want. Imagine having a magic paintbrush which allows you to do something that would be beneficial for the community here, local, global. Think about what that would be. What would you use your magic paintbrush to do? Would you imagine a world without hunger or poverty? Or a world where climate change is somehow alleviated? Would you imagine a time when the temporary overnight shelters were not needed because everyone who needed it had housing? Where everyone has good, affordable health care, where children survive and thrive because we create schools where their imaginations are honored and nurtured. So I'm just going to point out, around the sanctuary there are a couple tables with Post-it notes in different sizes and colors, with pens and pencils. And if you would like, I would like you, and I invite you, to go to one of those tables and write or draw your imaginings and stick them on one of the poster boards. Once we write them down, once someone imagines a way, then that way becomes possible. It always seems impossible until it's done. So I invite you, there's a table in the back, there's a table in the front, and I would love for you to write an image or write something that you imagine for the world, for this community, and then stick them on the yellow poster boards that are there. Thank you, everyone, for indulging your imaginations. Remember, it only seems impossible until it's done. Amen, and blessed be.
Our closing hymn is hymn number 1018, Come and Go With Me to That Land. Thank you so much, Doug, for being here today and joining in with us on the bass. After we've done with the last verse, we're going to go back and sing the first verse again. So just be ready for that. So please rise and bow to your spirit and join us. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land where I'm born. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land where I'm bound. Freedom. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land where I'm born. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land where I'm bound. Justice. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land where I'm bound. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land where I'm... You can put the papers down. Clap your hands. Singing, singing in that land. They'll be singing in that land. They'll be singing in that land where I'm born. They'll be singing in that land. They'll be singing in that land. They'll be singing in that land where I'm bound. Come and go with me. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land where I'm born. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land where I'm bound.
Our benediction this morning is by Arundhati Roy from her speech, Come September. Perhaps things will become worse and then better. Perhaps there's a small God up in heaven readying herself for us. Another world is not only possible, she's on her way. Many of us won't be there to greet her, but on a quiet day, if I listen very carefully, I can hear her breathing.
We have now come to the end of our service, and it is time to extinguish our chalice. We extinguish this chalice now, but let us carry the flame within us as we leave this place. My friends, go in peace, and as you go out into the world, may the real service begin.